Holy shit, the Children of the Corn. No, sorry, no, just Rob. And guess what? We have some guests, Rob, don't we?
Yes.
We have Tom and Anke here from the Hamlin Scream Fest coming up, what is it, Saturday, October the 6th of this year at the, where is it, the Hamlin Town Hall?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Up in Hamlin, New York.
It's Lake Road, right?
Yes.
1658 Lake Road.
1658 Lake Road in Hamlin. Runs from noon to 6. It is a, would you describe family-friendly, family-oriented?
Definitely family-friendly and family-oriented.
Yep. It's the only Halloween festival in Monroe County.
Really? The only festival, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we were talking before we started recording about, different haunted attractions, which, as you said earlier, was kind of how this whole thing started.
Yes.
So, maybe give us a little background for people, especially people like me that had never heard of it before. Just where it began, how you became to get involved in it.
That was where the Pied Piper was in Hamlin, so they took over for him.
Yeah, he drove the rats out and the Halloween festival came in.
We started off as a haunted attraction for charity. Actually, Anke and I were not involved in those days when it very first started. It was something that was run through the town's recreation department. It was actually a young man, I think his name was Sean, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
That he came to the recreation director and wanted to do a haunted house to replace the haunted hayride that had been in the town that had shut down, that had been run by the fire department. And so they did a haunted hallway that year, and they asked for canned goods to donate to the food cupboard program in return for going through their little haunted hallway.
And it was just the hallway.
So literally just a hallway.
The hallway of Town Hall. Yeah, you walk in one side and you walk out the other.
And then it proceeded to grow over 10 years, and it ended up encompassing the entire campus, including 3 buildings.
3 buildings, half of the park,
Yeah.
a tennis court. We had to get a school bus. In 2014, we started getting a school bus to bring the participants to the beginning part of the haunt, so that after they've walked through all these numerous buildings and parts of the park, they would end up back in the original parking lot. So the bus was actually part of the attraction, and we had people on the bus setting the scene, or the stage, so to speak, narrating in costume, so that...
I was going to say, so was it haunted school bus? Yeah, well,
sometimes.
Spooky school bus.
We changed the theme up a little bit each year.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing, when I went to school, all our school buses were haunted pretty much. But I understand, speaking of haunted, weren't you on a ghost thing last night to check the area out?
Yep. There's been rumors about the town hall being haunted. It's a former school, and there's been people that work there that have heard odd noises, particularly around the basement, the ladies' room. We had a group of paranormal researchers, Dark Star, that came out 2 years ago, did an investigation. They came away saying that they'd communicated with 3 different spirits. And then last night we had the Afterlife Research Agency in there, but we don't know what the results from their investigation last night were yet.
I would be afraid my librarian would come after me for a fine from high school. But I actually heard yesterday, I was out by Manitou, and I heard there's a Mothman legend out by Manitou, which I never heard about.
Well, Manitou is actually a name for an evil Indian spirit.
The Manitou, though.
Yeah.
There's some 70s movie about that.
Yes.
Susan George.
Yes.
With the coral snake, which was really, they tried to say it was a coral snake, but you could just tell by the bands it wasn't, but I'm anal.
Yeah.
So
but
there
bit of
actually is a
haunted history there.
Mothman legend out
There's supposedly
out
on
that way?
Manitou Road, they've seen some kind of creature running around.
Really?
I've never seen him, thankfully.
Yeah, it's been going around as a legend for years. There used to be a town historian in Hilton, Shirley Cox Husted, who wrote a book called Valley of the Ghosts, and she talked about the legends, people seeing a head with like bat wings flying around.
I think we have one sitting out here watching the podcast today. Over there's like some guy here I think's made up over here.
Mothman? No, not Mothman. No, but I was talking to Rob not that long ago. There's all those books out there. I've got like Haunted Rochester, Ghosts of the Genesee Valley, and there's one, not far from where I live. Apparently, it's the Ghostly Carriage Boy, and if you go past a certain intersection, when dusk is happening and it's raining, and apparently if the lighting is, in a certain way, you can see the ghost of a boy who was run over by a carriage back in late 19th century times.
And there's like a Blair Witch one. I read about a legend in Jamestown where these people got off a train by a forest. They were never to be seen again. So,
that's
scary
Jamestown for you. It's spooky down there.
Well, there's a lot of folklore and crazy history here in Rochester. We've got a Jack the Ripper suspect that's buried in Holy
Tumblety.
Sepulchre.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tumblety, buried in Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah.
The guy was weird regardless, because if you read about him, he kept body parts and jars and everything.
Oh, yeah.
He was an
so he
odd
was
guy.
interesting, but that's a beautiful way to advertise it. Hi, come to Rochester. We're home of Jack the Ripper.
Maybe, possibly.
But you mentioned Lady in White now. You
Yeah,
were
the Lady in White legend. Yeah.
and the film, too.
Yeah, originally when I moved back to the Rochester area from Ithaca, I had been toying around with the idea of doing a festival for Halloween that was actually going to be based around Lady in White, and I was going to try and talk to folks out there and try and get it at Durand Eastman Park. But I was a former home haunter that got out of doing home haunts because I had a high volume of trick-or-treaters.
What is home haunting?
That's where you haunt your home around Halloween time and treat it almost like a haunted house. People go through it. But I was worried someone was going to get scared, trip, and hurt themselves, and I'd get
My
sued.
dad does
I
that
don't know
every day.
how much homeowners insurance covers
They have,
home.
you remember,
Right.
Do you remember Bob Burns at all? He was Tracy the Gorilla in Ghostbusters, and he's one of these guys like Forey Ackerman did them every year. He might still do it. He's 83 now. He would do a haunted home thing where for 15 minutes he got Walter Koenig to do it one year, like a thing with an alien. They would have a show. They have a line out the block, and they come in and they have this little haunted house. I'd be afraid somebody fall.
Yeah,
over
exactly.
something,
Oh, yeah.
or
You know.
I tripped over the pumpkin. Well, it's a pumpkin.
So
It's on your property.
instead of doing the home haunt, I got involved with the town of Hamlin doing their charity haunt. And through that, we wound up forgetting about doing the Lady in White thing and instead founded Scream Fest.
Excellent.
Well, actually, now I know there's some people not from Rochester. Lady in White. Let's give a quick little briefing of her.
Sure.
If we can.
The Durand Eastman Park, right over in Irondequoit, there's a little foundation that's there that people think they could refer to it as the White Lady's Castle.
Yeah.
And supposedly the Lady in White, she had a daughter who was murdered by some bad men. And so she patrols the shores of Lake Ontario looking for bad men who are taking advantage of women, and she will sick her hounds upon them.
And I know a lot of people have reported seeing stuff out there. I've never
Is there a
personally.
lighthouse out there too, somewhere or something? I think because I've seen it. It's like you can't see it if you're by the beach, but I've seen the rocks.
Yeah, I've seen the rocks. I don't know about the lighthouse, but I've never personally seen anything there. But I know people that have talked to me said they have seen.
I know my
or
dog's
felt or heard
freaked out. I
something.
had my dog walking by there one time. She wanted to get the heck out of there, and you always trust animals
Yeah,
because, like,
dogs
okay, I
and
don't want to be
horses.
Blair Witched right now. No, thank you.
Yeah, but stuff like that I've always just found incredibly fascinating. So now, you said it was you started out as a charity haunt or festival, but now how long has it been going on in the format that it is now?
Second year. This is our second year as a Scream Fest.
Okay, second year as a Scream Fest, and I printed out the schedule. There's a lot of cool stuff going on. A lot of stuff I want to talk about. Let's see. We got Halloween vendors with scavenger hunt. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's going on all day. So guess what, people? We're actually going to give you the lowdown, so when you come, you know what to look for. Zombie Nerf.
Okay.
What is zombie Nerf? Is it like Nerf crossbows and?
No. It's a zombie-themed, glow-in-the-dark version of Capture the Flag with Nerf guns.
I had to shift that one.
Sort of like Splatball a little bit with Nerf guns,
Well,
so it's less painful.
it's become a very popular sport here in general. The Nerf battles, which is basically a form of Capture the Flag using Nerf, and we're just taking it one step further by playing it in the dark or glow in the dark with zombies against zombies. So when you go to play, you're playing against zombies.
Random fact about Nerf too. Does anybody realize it was invented by and created by Fred Cox, the old Vikings kicker?
Yeah,
I did not know
he
that.
invented
I
the
didn't know
Nerf
that.
football back in the whenever days.
And one day he said zombies will be taken out with us.
There you go.
And Zombie Nerf runs noon to 5. Where's that?
That's going to be in the Charlie Mayer Lodge. That's a facility in the park.
Okay,
Well, now what does the scavenger hunt entail a little bit? Is it sort of like scary items, random items?
I don't really want to give too much away.
No,
Yeah.
no, obviously.
It's an opportunity for the public to go on a scavenger hunt that takes them around the vendor areas, and if they fill out all of the stuff and find everything, they can turn it in and they potentially could win prizes.
Oh, those are always fun.
Yeah. And then we were talking very briefly trunk or treat. I'd never heard of it. It sounds interesting. If you don't mind, just a little bit on what trunk or treat is, not trick, trunk. and where it came from and whatnot.
Sure. Some places, various church organizations, some scouting groups, things like that, have used trunk or treating as an alternative to trick or treating. We've brought it into our event, which is a pro Halloween event, to be inclusive to everybody, so they can come out and do their trick or treating right there at the cars. People decorate their cars, the trunks up, and the kids can get their treats that way.
They go from car to car.
So it's actually the trunk of a car. Okay.
Interesting side note on that, because when I was a kid, I just maybe being childhood memory, I remember Halloween we picked. Do you have a lot of trick-or-treaters come by you anymore, you think? Because I've heard neighbors say, some
as
people I
much.
know say like 120, and then we'll get 2. And I actually have a pumpkin patch in my front yard now because I just chucked some seeds. That'd be really cool. And I put devil horns on my dog. Nobody shows up. One kid came up and, it's a devil dog, ran away. But nobody. And that was one of
Very
like the highlights of my youth. So you see them anymore?
Not much.
It depends upon where you live.
That too,
If
yeah.
you're like Main Street, Brockport, there's quite a few trick-or-treaters that come through there. When I lived down south of Ithaca in the town of Spencer, I was known as the Halloween Man of Spencer, and I would have about 500 trick-or-treaters go through my haunted attraction in my yard.
Wow.
We'd have a little clicker to keep track of them as they were going through.
I can say the house I've been in now, I've been in since 2007. There's probably more trick-or-treaters than I've gotten combined in the 11
I'll
years
give
I've
you
been
one.
living
This
there.
is a simple little prank that worked so great when I was a kid. And it'll come up again. We're probably going to talk about Halloween in October because it's October. So this is our first one of Clowntober,
Yeah,
too, I think.
happy Clowntober, everybody.
But what happened was there was this one house. It was like a haunted house. So we go up there. They give treats. They give you a little Snickers bar and a balloon. You don't think about, it's a balloon. Why do they do this? You forget about it. It's in your bag. Get down, maybe down the block. Drop it in. Candy bursts the balloon. Scares the heck out of you.
Can you imagine somebody doing that today? The trauma that the kids would feel and the grief counselors that would have to get involved. And
All depends upon the child. Yeah.
you know, well, really more the parents of the child, I think. I don't think the kids would care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Everyone's wired differently as far as their fight or
I
flight
mean, I got in
response.
trouble back in
You
kindergarten
know.
because I went to Catholic schools and I dressed as a witch. And they kept taking my witch wig, and I'm wondering, okay, because I didn't realize it was a young cross-dresser. But they're like, put this away. It's like, why are you taking my costume?
Well-
This is fun.
Well, it's funny. You should mention, my grandfather, he worked as a janitor for one of the local schools, elementary schools, years and years ago. And he had a glass eye. And he dressed up as a witch for Halloween. And the kids were like, oh, you're not a witch. And then he went, I'll show you. And he pulled out his eye. And then you talk about trauma and needing therapy. Those
Yeah.
kids went running, screaming.
And we mentioned this is our Clowntober month, and you're going to have a very interesting MC there.
Yes, we haven't introduced him yet here because
He's our
we've been-
professor of clownomics.
our doctor of clownomics, doctor of clownometry.
Where is he today? Lecturing in Transylvania University?
Something like that. He's on the lecture circuit now, but Relic the Clown, a local clown, I guess is how you could best describe
With
him.
his
is-
evil brother, Chaos.
Clown of Nightmares.
Yeah, Relic the Clown of Nightmares. If you want to find him on Facebook,
And he's going to be doing
he's
what there?
I asked him about it. He's like guest MC or
Yep,
for something.
Chaos the Clown will
Oh,
be.
he's
yep,
coming
he
as
will-
Chaos.
Brother.
yeah,
Coming as chaos.
he will be our MC and our master of ceremonies, overseeing our contests. We have a costume contest that's going to be going on, as well as a Scream contest, which is where the Scream in Scream Fest comes from.
Okay, yeah, I actually saw
You
that.
weren't
There's
clowning around for this one. This is serious.
Serious stuff, yeah.
So the Scream contest is for children that are ages 12 and under. And we're going to give them a microphone, and they're going to get up there, and they're going to scream.
Oh, that is
And
going to
we're
blow
gonna
out some
have-
eardrums.
Oh, yeah. And we've got our judges that are going to be overseeing this. We've got Frank and Sherry from Demon Productions and some other guest judges that are going to be coming out. And they'll be scoring everybody on their ability to scream, their pitch, their loudness, presentation, all that.
Kids, if you want to win, have some pumpkin spice Cheerios. They're so gross you will scream as loud as you can.
Well, I mean, those kids are loud, man. Are you going to have like a decibel meter or something if possible?
You know what? We haven't planned on it for this year. Maybe we might do that for a future year.
That would
though.
be cool, like the loudest.
Well, this one's Pink Floyd. This one's Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
This
Iron
one's
Maiden.
Motorhead up here.
Yeah,
it's
just
like
to see
Lemmy called down. Hey,
Just to see what kind of levels that these kids can get without hurting themselves.
Some of them are quite impressive from
Oh,
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
And
Very piercing.
the duration also.
Do you find now for the costume things, it's interesting how this has changed over the years. Do a lot of them do their own or do they buy them? Because I remember we would we have little books and make them. Otherwise, we go down to Gold Circle to get the little smell. Remember the mask with the smell?
We found that most of the kids that participated last year, they made them.
I
Yeah.
think that's
They did
really
make them,
neat.
yeah.
I really do.
I remember some very creative costumes last
Yeah.
year. There was a family that showed up as fidget cubes.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole family.
I've seen static cling where people just go and they'll have like stuff stuck on their clothes.
Oh, but the fidget. But that's the thing, because I remember when I was a kid, one of the early costumes I had, my mom made it. I went as a dice. So basically, just a cardboard box painted white with the dots on it.
And I went as a TV. I had the little antennas made of foil, which a lot of people later life said I still should be wearing.
Yeah.
But I had a TV and I posted stuff out on here. I'm still convinced they stole the thing from me, that the parents in the school there, because my costume was so much better. So there.
Well, and it was fun back then. But yeah, and I was speaking with a friend of mine. I'd like to get your opinion on it. She said Halloween started to kind of go downhill when it became more common just to go buy a costume than to put a little effort in and make it. Because you can just walk in and...
Well, I think the store-bought costume was actually, I think, more common years ago.
Yeah.
I think they were poorer quality, but they were kind of nostalgic,
Well, there was
stuff
the
like that
costume
Ben
shop.
Cooper kind of
I mean,
thing,
I have pictures of my parents in the 50s dressed up, like and stuff like that and everything. And I remember that. And I remember going to, like, Arlene's.
Yeah.
Go in there and try my little Zorro keep on and everything.
Those little boxes they had with the cellophane cover.
Yep.
With the little overall. The overall was always the same. It was just the print that was different, no matter whether you were Cinderella or Spider-Man.
Yep, the Ben
And-
Cooper company.
Yep,
That
yep.
was
And
the-
then
yep.
the,
Oh, that was the one where now you read the mask sort of asphyxiates you back in the day, because I had one I almost fell
it's
down
like
the steps.
lined
Oh,
with,
yeah.
the government has ordered us to say these are lined with lead paint and asbestos. But no, I remember the cardboard mask or the rubber mask with the rubber band around it that would break 10 minutes into
And
trick or
you see
treat.
a lot
Oh, yeah.
of these days too, obvious. I like the exception to the rule, because one year I used to work at a bar. We had 1,000 black swans, but you always have the superheroes. So I love like the fidget cubes.
Yeah,
the ones.
the non-mainstream stuff.
Somebody did the Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou one year, and I love it because so which one of you do Lars? They love when you got it too.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the one time a girl came up and she's like, "Guess what I am?" I was like, "You're a droog from Clockwork Orange." She's like, "You're the first person that got that." Like, really?
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like that's
Did she pound you in the leg with a cane or something?
No,
The
I
old
don't.
ultra violence.
yeah. No, but she had the whole get up, the whole cane and all that. I was like,
I saw one of those at Red O's and Books one year.
"Oh, droog."
Yeah. Was the little wimpy guy, the one who's like sort of the coward in the
Oh
group
God, I
with the
don't
little
even
eye
remember.
patch?
It's been a while. But, all right, back to the schedule. So we talked about the Scream contest. Kids, make sure you warm up first because you're gonna blow out a vocal cord. Glacier Ridge Dead Zone paintball demo. Who's Glacier Ridge, or what's Glacial Ridge Dead Zone? I can speak. Is that like a local?
Glacier Ridge is a sports dome out in Spencerport, and they offer sledding on inner tubes and stuff during the wintertime. They have
Oh,
a
that
soccer
place.
dome and stuff. And then for the
Yeah.
fall season, they transform into the Dead Zone, which are going to have actors as zombies, and you get to shoot them with paintball guns.
Those poor actors.
Some of those hurt. I used
Having
to
been
play.
shot
I
in the
used to
neck
get,
with a paintball before.
you would look after you played, you'd have welts all
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And they're going to be coming out with a trailer, and there's going to be a zombie or zombies inside of it, and people can line up and shoot a zombie with a paintball gun.
Are these the slow zombies, or are they the new Dawn of the Dead zombies where they run
the
after you?
28 days later
you
zombies.
know, I
they
don't
were-
know.
Yeah.
We're going to find out the day of, I guess.
I'm not that fast.
I would assume it would be the standard George Romero shuffling zombie. One would hope.
Or the vegetarian one, they eat grains.
Are you serious? Oh, for the love of God.
I wonder if those paint guns now, because I did used to play a lot, and I remember in the day, there's a place down by Dispatch Junction where you used to get our paintballs and everything. People would start getting these things. They look like Uzis. Literally, you'd have the
Oh,
one.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
these
Really
things
high-tech,
hurt.
yeah. Oh,
These
God,
things are
it's
like,
ridiculous.
don't stick your head out. Well, I don't want to. Then I got shot by my own man 5 times.
Well, I got the one
Friendly
that
fire.
said when you get shot, put your hand
Yeah.
up, to let people know.
So
I
more
put-
people could shoot you.
Yeah, I put my hand up like I'm out, took off the mask, bam, right in the neck.
No,
And I was with the Boy Scouts when we did that. So. All right, good.
you can't trust those Boy Scouts.
No, well, Rob doesn't trust me, so it's okay. All right, moving on. Demon Archery.
Demon Archery is an opportunity really for people to try archery. We're setting up a regulation archery range, and the targets that they will be shooting will be dressed for the occasion, as are the instructors. So it's really an opportunity to try your hand at archery.
Because Hamlin Recreation has a regular archery program. So this is this event is also an opportunity to sample some of the stuff that the town normally has going on.
Well, that's good. And I really think especially people really need to start taking advantage of what's going on in their towns. A lot more.
There's a lot of programs for people.
That's the thing. There's a ton of programs that people, and then you always hear people going, "Oh, there's nothing to do." Well, go down to the town hall and they've got stuff.
I was
to do.
at a library recently, and when I went in, you see all these things. There's plenty of things, but I remember being involved in some historical society stuff. People would come for the food, but nobody would come in otherwise. Nobody, and then they're complaining that nothing's going on. And there's a lot of associations, events for kids to take part in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now this one I want to see just because it's pumpkin chucking, because I know the TV show was pumpkin chucking. So what is that? Do people come with stuff set up, or do they have to build an apparatus? Or
that one is intended. We're intending to add that eventually. It unfortunately has to have been postponed again this year. We've tried including it last year, and we've had various organizations that have shown an interest in building devices, but they haven't been able to follow through and actually do it. So we're still working on getting someone. So if you got an interest in engineering and you live in the area and you want to show off,
what's the process though? It's like a slingshot these things or something.
like,
I know catapults.
build a device that launches a
RIT
pumpkin.
actually did it.
They do.
Or has the thing. They build basically almost trebuchets.
We've reached out to them. We haven't heard anything back as yet.
Come on,
and,
RIT.
Brockport High School, which is right nearby us, also has that as part of their engineering, their tech program.
I would recommend getting a hippopotamus because when I lived in D.C., for the zoo for Halloween, they would literally throw pumpkins to the hippopotami and they would gobble them down.
Oh,
so if you can get a hippopotamus.
Yeah, that's something we could just
Otherwise,
go down to the
do it like
Rochester Zoo and borrow it.
And borrow 'em.
Go down to Highland Park Zoo, borrow a hippo. Can we borrow a hippo? No.
Help clean our field afterwards.
Yeah.
that. Everybody would. Well, it would be a horror fest with one of those things there. It's
Well, okay, so unfortunately, pumpkin chucking is up, but the potato launching, is that still a go?
I'm hoping, I gave them the potato cannon, and so hopefully Brightly Farms will come out and do something with that. They said they were very, very interested. They took on the cannon. I hope they've been practicing. It's basically about hoping you shoot that potato to the target.
Distance accuracy.
Yeah.
And that farm has also been a big supporter of us all
huge
along.
supporter,
When we were Haunted House, all the way up to now, they always let us use a school bus that we've used as. Last year it was our haunted school bus. That was our haunted house. Basically, people went inside the school bus, and it was a scary school bus.
Yeah.
And this year it'll be in there as more of just a decoration kind of deal.
And in the past, it was a major prop in any of our haunts. So big thanks
What do you
to
think's
Brightly.
really effective for a haunt? I found for haunted houses, I've been to a lot of them. Sometimes simple works better, but there's something that you find very effective in using them. You like to use like as props or like as an experience.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is misdirection. It's almost like doing a magic trick. Or
Yes.
I've compared setting up a scare as the same as like laying out a joke. You have the setup, and then you have that punchline with the scare. And with a lot of times what we would do is stuff like, I remember one year I was a scary teacher, and I'm at the end of the classroom, and I was looking all intimidating, and everyone's focusing on me because they think the scare is coming from me. And actually, it was my daughter, who was a little girl. She's like maybe 7, 8 years old. She's just laying there on one of the desks with cobwebs draped on her, along with all these mannequins, so they're not paying attention to her. And then all of a sudden, she just looks up and just very quietly goes, "Help me!" And they would jump out of their skin because they're expecting it coming from the front, not from the side.
At Seabreeze one year when we were going in there, the guys going, "We ever catch an escape maniac that got loose in there?" That was good. But I get, because the ones I bet where the thing jumps out at you and you don't know it's there. It's almost like, okay, I'm going to make this disappear. Look at this.
Yeah. It's like, focus on my right hand while my left hand is picking your pocket.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was thinking that, like, just get somebody right up there. Everybody's like, what's he going to do? Oh, nothing. It's this thing right next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, So you get your daughter involved in all this.
That's partly also
their whole
how I
family.
got involved.
The whole
yeah,
family?
the Gleason family. We're kind of a little bit known for our Halloween activities.
That's got to be
so-
fun for a kid to be able to especially scare adults like that and get away with it.
Yeah, they have a blast with it. I have a son and a daughter, 13 and 9 years old. So they both really get into it.
Oh, creepy children.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay. Pumpkin painting, pretty self-explanatory. Is it a contest or is it just for fun?
Just for fun. That's being provided by one of our local churches, and they're bringing tons and tons of pumpkins.
Get like the
Which
little
church
baby,
is that?
The North Star Fellowship.
North Star Fellowship.
Yep.
Is it like the little baby pumpkins or like bigger ones?
They were not teeny tiny, but they were
Yeah.
not huge.
Right, not like the big
Yeah.
jack-o'-lantern ones. but
Last
like,
year they had 300 pumpkins, and we had so many people that they were done in less than 2 hours. So this year they're going to they've been collecting, getting donations from everywhere, so they can actually have enough for the duration of the event. So it's going to be a lot of pumpkins.
Yeah, because I
well-
see that runs noon to 4, so you're going to need a lot
Yeah.
of pumpkins.
I have to ask too. Noticed over the years now there are all these variants. The white ones. There's also. You ever seen the tiger stripe ones?
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah.
Those are really neat, though. I mean, it's not just your usual jack-o'-lanterns anymore.
Or
There's a whole wide variety of them.
like the little warty ones, I think they're called. What,
I
warty
saw
goblins?
one yesterday at the market. Somebody
Is that what
had
they're called?
one.
I
think so.
I researched it because somebody's like, well, what causes the warts on a pumpkin? So I Googled it.
Toads.
Well, and apparently they look like they might be called warty goblin pumpkins. Like they're actually bred for it. Others, it's like a plant virus. But some they're actually bred to be like really bumpy and warty. And
I like the
they're called-
Jack B. Littles too because they're easy to grow. You know, the little ones.
Yeah, the little ones
Yeah.
you can't really carve them or do anything with them,
No.
but they're good for
But
painting.
it's amazing the artistry. We just saw a Garfield pumpkin at a farm market the other day. It's amazing how the art is for these things. Because they have those kits I would just press the face in, but it's better. It's amazing.
Yeah, the freehand. I could never do it because I would always try to get the bottom teeth and then cut in a little too far and then it fell out. It's like, well, I was never good at carving jack-o'-lanterns. Couldn't do it. Don't know why.
Did you do the triangle or the circle for the eyes or different? Like
I was
square?
always I was a triangle man. Triangle man for the eyes.
A classic look.
Yeah, just get the marker, draw it, and then
I would be okay. It's gonna be a triangle. Oh, I guess it's gonna be a circle. Oops.
yeah. Like even though I had the lines on there, I don't know. I just couldn't follow them for some reason.
Oh, if you guys ever tried a Dremel for carving your pumpkin, if you use a Dremel tool, you can get really
Oh, yeah.
exact.
Oh,
with it.
I've heard a lot of
The
people
detail.
say that. Yeah, because like the ones that do like the real intricate faces that I couldn't even think to dream up to put on a pumpkin.
I
let alone
found
actually
something
do.
else too a couple of years ago. I never knew about. Squirrels get into pumpkins.
Oh yeah.
They did. I had a friend lived down by Oxford Street, had the pumpkins outside the apartment. Said the squirrels would chomp them right up.
Well, you have to draw a squirrel into the pumpkin so it'll think that the pumpkin ate it, and then no scare squirrel.
Those teeth, I don't want to mess with them.
No.
Have the clown take care of them.
Oh God, zombie Nerf war. So we kind of briefly touched on that before we recorded. Zombie Nerf war runs from 1 to 5. Is that just sort of along the lines of the zombie Nerf thing, or is it same thing?
That's
Same
the same thing.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. It's just in 2 places.
Oh.
Spooky stories in the library. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, the library wants to participate in this event.
Which
and
I
since
think
they're
is
right
great.
there. They're right there on the campus. So
Is it a lot local stuff, or is it just any stories, whatever you want?
I'm not really sure
And who's
which
doing it? Is
Yeah,
it
the
the
author
library
and-
is doing it.
The library, the librarians, and I don't know what stories they've picked yet.
I don't know either. I know that they're also going to be doing some kind of a takeaway craft that the children can do as well. And they're very excited to be involved in this. So it's a good thing for even when preschoolers are coming that the parents can bring them to that
So it's
because
good.
that's pretty much what it's targeting.
It's been growing into a community thing. I mean, there's going to be now. There's also a harvest festival going on up the road at the same time over at the fire department grounds, and the VFW is doing German
A
Fest.
German Fest.
So we're going to have like 3 different flavors of
Big
fall
party in
holiday
Hamlin, yeah.
going on the same
Don't
day.
go to the German Fest before you get scared because bad things could happen when sauerkraut and scare is involved.
No, I think that's fabulous. I want the whole town
I know that.
really to be involved
Oh,
on
absolutely.
that day.
And
Maybe
the,
we
Lion,
can
the
big
Lions
carnival.
Club has gotten
It's like-
involved this year.
Yeah,
See, that's
was-
great.
Everybody's like inclusive. It's like something for everyone.
Well, this
Yeah.
is what was sort of the thought behind it because we wanted to get as many community organizations as possible to be involved, whether they promote their own product or whether they provide an activity, and that's exactly what's happening, and that's just, I think, really, really, really good, because it's the local farms, it's churches, it's the Lions Club, the Scouts, the football team.
The whole community.
The whole community.
That's what's
Yeah.
really good. It's like
Yeah.
bring people together.
Because everybody
do
wants to
this.
talk about inclusion, but that's true inclusion.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
'cause-
want to stress too, this is a kid-friendly event. There are these things now where they try to out-haunt you, where they have these haunted houses where they literally do. Well, I've seen those movies, and this is for everybody.
This is for everybody.
And that's part of the whole reason for this event as well. Is when we were doing the haunted house, we'd noticed that parents were bringing kids that were not prepared for going through a haunted house, and they would get really, really terrified. And we looked at it and went, you know what? There's a lot of scary stuff. There's a lot of adult kind of stuff going on out there. There's not really something in Monroe County that is a festival that is this family friendly. You have the zoo boo at the zoo, but that's more zoo than it is boo, really.
Right,
So
that's
we
just
wanted
more
to, we
animals.
wanted to do more Halloween with
Themed,
this,
yeah.
but have it be something that you could bring the kids to.
Which I think is great. Especially because, I know that there's a lot of paranoia about people letting their kids go trick-or-treating today, but I think it's unfortunate that they may not get the same experiences that, people of the other older generations got when they were kids, just able to walk around the neighborhood.
It's one day a year. Eat the candy. Don't worry
Well,
about it.
that, and also that's almost urban legend. If you look into it, the razor blades and the apples, things like that. It
Well, my
doesn't
view,
really
I've always
happen.
said this. This is one of my pet peeves about Halloween. My thought is, if this really happened, you think you're going all over, but as a kid, you're going a few blocks. They're going to catch the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. And if we got an apple, I admit, if we got an apple, we'd usually peg the house with it.
Yeah,
Well,
it's like in the entire history of Halloween, has there ever been a documented case of the syringe or the razor blade in the...
There is one instance back in the 70s. That's what started this whole mania. It was, and this is a sad story. So I'm sorry to bring everyone down a little bit, but there was a father who wanted to collect insurance money on his son, and so he poisoned his son's candy and also some of the other relatives that came by to trick or treat at one place. And so they caught it after it killed his son, and they got it in the candy for everyone else and saved them. But it was easily traced right back to him. They found out
But
what
it
he
becomes
done.
the I heard thing where, what town did it happen in? Oh, it happened over here. No, it happened in this one. No, it was this
Yeah,
one.
and
No,
then all
my
of a
son heard somebody from a friend's son's relative's uncle that it happened to him.
So I
and
guess
it's all
because
over
of
the
that,
place.
when I was a kid, we always heard the story like, oh, no, razor blades in the apples,
Right.
The monsters are
and
doing
strychnine in
Maple
the
Street.
Snickers,
Yep.
and...
PCP, I heard that one too.
Yeah, I
like in
heard-
the Nestle bars.
Oh, what else? There was a couple good ones. Like, the syringe. Like, somebody would somehow find a way to manage to get an
No.
entire syringe in an apple.
The only
Right.
real thing about that is anybody who really eats candy corn.
Oh, that's the one thing about Halloween I don't tolerate.
No.
Candy corn is meant to be a decoration, not
It's
not
a
to be
wax.
eaten.
It's a wax candle.
I agree, Ron.
It's a wax candle. It
As,
is.
as Lewis Black said, they haven't made candy corn since 1909. It's
The same stuff.
It's the same stuff. They send out their little minions to the dumpsters after Halloween
Well,
and
they're
pick it
worse,
out
though,
and
too. You see
repackage it
little
every year.
pumpkins now. They got the little pumpkins
Yeah.
into the candy. Cause use it for a candle or something.
And people are like, oh, the different layers taste differently. No, they don't. White, orange, brown. Candy corn
That's what
is
you have to do.
equally
Have
terrible.
a candy corn eating contest.
Yeah, whoever has one wins.
It's right there with the circus peanut.
Oh, Oh, my cousin actually likes the circus peanuts. Like, he'll just eat them in front of us. Like, no, stop that. That's wrong.
I remember back in the day when I was a kid, the Sabres, whoever did the hot dogs there, we literally flung them into the crowds.
Yeah, the Sabres are actually they
Oh, what are
donated
they
a
doing?
gift for as one of the prizes.
Oh,
Oh.
Secret
Yeah.
Sabres gift for you
talk about
hockey
some of these
Halloween
prizes.
fans.
What are they that you can give away?
We have
Yeah.
the hockey puck.
We have a hockey puck that's signed by Jason. Last name begins with a P. I'm sorry, I don't follow.
Pominville. I'm wondering
Yes,
Pominville.
yes,
yes,
we've got a signed
yes.
autographed hockey puck to give away as one of our prizes.
That's a
We've
good
got
one.
tickets. We've got tickets to Blackhawks game.
and
Nice.
the Amherst. And Darien Lake has also donated tickets to be given away as prizes.
For this year and next year.
Wow.
Yep, and they've got their Fright Fest. They brought it back now that Darien Lake has been...
Darien Lake's back, is it?
Yeah, with Six Flags. So now after, 15, 16 years, they're back to having Fright Fest once
Yeah,
again.
because I heard about that way back in the day when I first came to Rochester, and then all of a sudden nobody talked about it anymore.
Yeah,
It's like,
we're all
well,
about
I guess that ended.
We're all about supporting the local Halloween and spooky businesses that are going on around here.
T-shirts.
Yeah. Fright Rags, local company that makes horror T-shirts, really quality stuff. They're one of the biggest companies for that in the world right now, and they're right here in Rochester, and they've donated T-shirts for us to use as prizes, both in kid sizes and adults.
Well, no, I think when we go down there, we're going to have to enter some contests.
Yeah, some very
Well,
cool
you're wearing
t-shirts.
one, Fred. What is this anyway?
Yeah.
Nobody can see this, but we'll try to describe it.
Yeah. I'm wearing one of their releases from a few years ago, limited edition. They did a Lady in White shirt based on the movie that was based on the local legend from Durand Eastman Park. So, yeah, they do really good artwork. I think they stand out a little bit from other T-shirt companies I've seen doing the horror
I have to
shirts.
check out their website
It's
when I
something
get home.
different too. I like that. It's not just your usual, whatever. Like,
Yeah, your usual skeleton or Frankenstein's monster. It's definitely, who really outside of Rochester, unless they're really big into supernatural and paranormal research, would have ever heard of the Lady in White?
People.
There's a lot of them around. Everybody's there.
Yeah,
Are a lot of those myths, but we.
Yeah, but I mean, that
everyone-
particular one, but everybody has a legend like that. I mean, because when I was at U of R,
The library.
no, I never had an issue at the library. It was the old gym, Spurrier Gym, that used to have the pool.
The library. I'm convinced there's something down there, and it wasn't just trying to get out of doing my research. You don't
No.
want to go down there. It was just weird.
No, at the Spurrier Gymnasium, which was, like I say, the old gym, there was a pool there where apparently a student drowned back in the 80s.
Well, I looked up because that's one of my.
I've seen some
my
weird stuff
side
there.
things is looking up this type of thing, and for upstate New York, and I guess Rush Reeves Library is on the list of most haunted places of upstate New York. I thought Dewey was worse myself.
See, all the time I was at the library
Yeah,
there,
you
I
were
never,
sleeping when you were supposed to do the work.
I,
so
w-
probably-
I never once slept in the library that I remember. But, yeah, no, at the bottom floor, when we had a summer camp at U of R, we would have the kids up in the old gym upstairs to do roller skating. And if they needed to, use the facilities or something, they were downstairs. So I would take them downstairs, and there's the lights flickering, even though they were perfectly fine. And then you walk underneath them, and then they would work perfectly. There was the old music rooms down there, the practice rooms. They would have pianos in there for the students to rent. Walking through there at night when all the doors are locked, knowing all the doors are locked, you hear piano playing. Yeah, I mean, there had to have been some sort of rational explanation, but excuse me, I couldn't find one. No, just
What are
creepy,
some of the
creepy,
better
creepy.
haunted houses you've ever seen? Then, like in terms of you seem like a connoisseur of this.
Well, let's see. I don't know. I've always enjoyed them. I started off going to Niagara Falls as a kid. We'd go to Castle Dracula and House of Frankenstein, and that really got my imagination going.
I remember the haunted house at Roseland.
Oh, I never got to go to that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I remember the one that we used to have at Seabreeze. It
Yeah,
was like a
remember-
Dungeons and Dragons themed
They
one.
did that one, and they did one where you went through. It was almost like a luminous light. It was almost like a fun house in some ways.
Yeah, I think I remember that. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm old.
Me too.
I was gonna say I don't remember that one, but
Well, these are in the horse and buggy days.
Yeah, this
so.
was
Oh,
like
right around-
70s, early 80s.
right around the
probably.
time when the Carriage Boy may have
Yeah.
gotten around. So it was you. You're the one that started the Carriage Boy. Let's see what else.
That
what
was a
else is-
miscarriage of justice.
Oh my God! So was that joke? Haunted Escape Room. I'm guessing you're partnering with the local escape room. If that's
So the escape room this year is actually going to be superhero escape. It's not going to be a room that you are escaping. It's actually going to be a superhero that is trapped this year, and you have to go around the festival finding clues and solving puzzles. And if you solve the 5 puzzles that are on the sheet, they're gonna reveal clues towards a 6th puzzle that'll reveal a code that'll help you save the superhero from the supervillain that has trapped them.
well, that's kind of cool. That definitely different because usually it's just you're thrown in the room. Mm-hmm. But nah, it's nice, and it gets people moving around.
Exactly. We didn't want to trap anyone waiting in line to get into a room and then trap them in a room and have
Right,
them miss out on the
exactly.
event. We want them to be able to do the puzzle, the escape puzzle, and still be
Which is cool, and
active
then
in it.
and then they can see other stuff, and they could even do it along with the scavenger hunt.
You got it.
The unhaunted house isn't on there.
I think they might have been looking at last year's list.
Oh
So-
no, because I just got this one off the website.
Not a problem. So this year we had the scary school bus last year. This year we're trying something a little bit different, and it's also part of the whole thing. We want to try and do an event that empowers kids. And we noticed those kids that were getting scared going through the haunted house back when we were still the School of Screams. This year we're doing an unhaunted house where it actually teaches the kids how a haunted house operates and puts the power in their hands and lets them do some of the haunting themselves and scare their parents.
That's always, who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. What kid
There's
doesn't want to scare their parents?
There's a book by Dan Simmons who wrote The Terror and others. I read,
Oh.
it was like Stephen King. I forget the title, but it's about a school that's like haunted or something. It's like,
Summer of Night.
yes, that's it.
That's a great
And
book.
I just thought the thing about that was, who would want to think their school's haunted? Ours was.
I think we all thought our school was haunted just so we could try to get out of school.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. U
That's
of
a
R was
great
the
concept, though. It's like, who doesn't want to scare their parents?
Well, exactly. It's like I said, especially with your kids working there. What kid doesn't want to be able to scare an adult and get away with it? And
Absolutely.
there's no repercussions for scaring
That's what.
said adult.
What's her name from Night of the Living Dead?
Kira Shawn.
Kira Shawn said, "I got to murder my parents." How great was that?
Yeah.
We actually named our daughter after
I
Kyra Schoen.
heard.
We were friends with her.
I
Living Dead's
love
my
her.
favorite film of all time.
That one, when I was a kid, I read about Old Fangoria, all this.
Yep.
That scared the heck out of me when I was a kid. And I love her artwork. Like, she puts these little dolls or something she does now, doesn't
Yep, she got out of acting. She was only brought into it because of her father.
she? They were the parents, weren't they? The real
They
parents?
were. Her biological father and her stepmother were playing her parents in the movie, and she grew up to become a art teacher at a high school down in the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah, I was going
And
to say
she's
she still
retired
lives
since.
down in Pittsburgh. From
Yeah,
what I
she's down
understand.
that way. Yeah. So we go out to the Living Dead weekend every so many years and stuff, and we see a lot of the cast members that are left. And we've gotten to know her. My family got into a car accident in 2014, and she was really nice and sent us a get well card for my kids.
Oh, so that's nice. Because I remember I ordered an autograph photo from her. She always signed it with the "It hurts," the only two lines she had in the movie, I think.
Yep.
And then she ate her father.
Yep,
Her
she
mom
did.
did.
Mom,
no,
that's
no,
right.
she
the
eats
father
them.
with the father with the garden trowel.
Nope, all the way around. It's he gets eaten. He already is dead from getting shot by Ben.
Right,
She
right,
eats
right.
his arm, and then she stabs the mother with the trowel.
Well, it's getting near the time of year when I watch that movie again. Anyway, I mean, it's a classic.
Time of year, I watch it every month.
True.
What was you saying? This is like one of those lingering fan questions. Is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie, a Christmas movie, or all year round because of the holiday things?
I think it's more of a Christmas film because there's more Christmas songs and motifs, I think, throughout the film than there is Halloween. There's only like one Halloween song at the beginning when you really look at it.
No,
Yeah.
what? That's a good theory.
Yeah, but it's still a great movie.
It is fun.
Still a great movie.
Yeah.
All right. Well, real quick, let's do this. It's coming up October the 6th at Hamlin Town Hall. Was it 1685?
1658 Lake Road.
Dyslexia, 1658 Lake Road. It's on Facebook, Hamlin Scream Fest. You can find it, Google it. Anything else you want people to know about? Is there, do you guys still need assistance? Any more volunteers?
We could use lots of volunteers.
How do we get a hold of you if you want to volunteer?
Yeah.
The
To get
easiest
shot by
way
a
is just to
splat
call the
poke, huh?
Hamlin Recreation Department, and the number for that is 964-7222.
We'll make sure to put that up
Yeah.
too, in case
Yeah,
it
yeah.
goes by
I'll
too
put
quick.
all this stuff up
I
in the
forgot it
description.
already.
Yep. Or just on Facebook, on our Facebook page, whether it's the Town of Hamlin Recreation Department or the Hamlin Scream Fest. Both have their own pages. We would love to get more individuals involved in the trunk or treat if they're interested in participating. There'll be a short vetting process, but it would be great to have more people involved in that.
And the other thing we should also mention is the affordability of the event. It's actually free to attend the festival. You don't pay to admission to get in. Nice. And we have an optional $5 fun pass. It gets you a wristband that gets you into a number of the fun activities, such as the demon archery and the Nerf zombie war and things like that. But there is some vendors who are there separately that will be charging, like the pony rides, things like that.
What's the accessibility for disabled and everything? Do you have something up for that?
Yeah, both the zombie Nerf are in locations as well as the archery that could help with that, yes.
And the town hall has got the ramp, so
town
people
hall has
have
got the ramp.
accessibility to the restrooms and anything like that.
The restrooms as well as the arcade games, yes.
Yep.
Perfect.
It's excellent.
Well, anything else you guys want to pitch?
Please come to our event.
Yeah,
Yes.
come to the event because
Be a zombie too. It's
Be
like
a
how
zombie,
cool is
dress
that?
up. Here's your
Does he
opportunity.
provide all
Yeah.
the things like for that for the makeup and everything? Or
Excuse me, I didn't
you
hear.
provide all the things like the makeup and everything?
Actually-
Actually, somebody make you up, or you do it yourself?
We do have that option there. Rochester Child First Network will be coming out with a booth, and they will be doing face painting there. And we are also going to have Demon Productions, Sherry Fairchild, and Frank Nikios, I think it is, might be pronounced. He goes by Frank Demon a lot of times. And they're local filmmakers, and they're going to be doing some zombie makeups.
And can people dress up if they come with
Oh,
the,
yeah,
the kids?
that's how you enter the contest, the
Perfect.
costume contest. Yeah.
So there you go, kids.
Oh,
Tell them-
I always ask this question because I've seen people mess this up all the time. Does anybody bring pets or leave them at home?
Well, it is a park with lots of facilities, so if you really insist on bringing your pet, make sure it's leashed. If your dog is a little bit touchy, maybe even a...
I have that because I've seen that at
Muzzle,
some
yeah.
festivals, and some people bring Cujo. And look, it's okay to dress as Cujo, just don't be him. And just
Yeah.
be like considerate a little. Some people are just afraid. It's just, oh, he's harmless.
Yeah.
People are afraid. They'll-
Kids trip over them sometimes.
Well, that's the thing, and
Yeah.
I fell
because-
over my dog.
And let's not forget with these big dogs, they're not trying to be aggressive, but, just playing, they could hurt a small child.
Yeah.
Last year we had a lady show up with a parrot, and that was a very popular attraction. She was just, person who showed up at our festival.
Random parrots.
Yeah.
We need a parrot.
Yeah,
Well, on that
I'll repeat that.
and on that terrible pun, I think we're getting out of the corn maze. So once again,
Worship he who lives behind the rose.
yeah, that too. And unfortunately, or fortunately for us, unfortunately for him, we're still sponsored. God forbid, by Upsitnik and Associates law offices, giving you legal advice from the Supreme Court all the way to Alaska and everywhere in between. Check them out on Facebook. Find the Hamlin Scream Fest on Facebook, on their website. Go to it, noon to 6, Saturday, October the 6th. Check it out. Come down. I think we might be there.
Yeah, I think we will be.
We'll be there.
We might be by a homicidal clown. So if we vanish, please remember us.
If we
and get a
vanish,
hold of
it's
somebody.
Chaos the Clown on Facebook.
Yes.
He is not
We
my
got
emergency.
you.
He
We
is
got
not my
you.
emergency contact. So
And I will add that we've talked about Manitou Road a lot. If you're afraid of the Mothman, there is for 2 more weeks at Homestead for Hope on Saturdays. It's 2185 Manitou Road. It's the old Bronco Farms. There's yoga class at 10 o'clock, and there's also hooping at 11:15 till 12:15. I do not do that, but it was cool. It was in a barn. There were owls. It's only $15. Talk to Melinda there. She's really good. I don't know her that well, but she's actually very good at it. And we actually did a figure 4 leg lock like in pro wrestling last week. So check it out. It's really cool, and you can sign up online for Homestead for Hope or just go to it and see the Mothman. You
yeah, I was
might
gonna
be
say,
with
was
it.
Mothman there?
And then come to the fest afterwards. It'll be over before the fest. Come down.
And that's it. Tom, Anke, thank you so much for coming. We're gonna post all the details in the description so you can find everything you need. Unless anybody has anything else, I guess we can wrap this one up.
Worship Hugh lives behind the rose. Boo.
And happy Clowntober, everybody. We'll see you
See
next
you,
time.
Relic.
Yeah. See you, Relic and Chaos.